Hey, what is up, everybody? Michael Crump back here again, bringing you the latest and the greatest in PlayStation 4 homebrew news and much, much more. So I wanted to talk about this variable refresh rate that the PlayStation 5 started rolling out this week. So yesterday, there was a blog post over here on the official PlayStation.Blog, and it said variable refresh rate support for PS5 is rolling out this week. And so if you don't know what the variable refresh rate is, basically it dynamically syncs the refresh rate of the display to the PlayStation 5's console's graphical output. So this enhances visual performance for PS5 games by minimizing or eliminating visual artifacts such as frame pacing issues and screen tearing. Now, there's already a number of titles that has this VRR support, some of the more notable ones obviously being things such as Ratchet and Clank. And now, the reason why I think that this is somewhat worthy of talking about, especially in the homebrew scene, is because if you scroll down into this blog post, you will see that it says VRR will arrive globally through a PS5 console update over the next few days. It says make sure you're connected to the internet to receive the update. Obviously, once you receive the update, then VRR will automatically be enabled for supported games if your PS5 console's connected to an HDMI 2.1 VRR compatible TV or monitor. And so what I was thinking was that there was going to be a new PS5 system software update which would include this. But what I noticed was that over on Twitter, there was several reports saying that the variable refresh rate is live on PS5s. Now, what is interesting about this is that this was not accomplished with a system update like we might expect. So if we go over to the PlayStation.com website and we take a look as of right now, the very latest version of the system software for PS5 is still setting on 05.02. Now, there's no note in here that mentions that the variable refresh rate was added in this release, which would make sense that they could just turn it on, but it just says that this system software update improves system performance. Again, even in the previous version with 5.00, there's still no mention whatsoever of the added VRR support. So going back to the current day, again, looking over here in this tweet, it said, pro tips, restart your PS5 and then unplug and plug in your HDMI on your 2.1 supported TV, and you should be able to see this option, which is the VRR option. Now, what's concerning to me about all of this is what I tweeted out just recently, and it was, without a system update, how is Sony adding this VRR option to PlayStation 5 consoles? You know, there's been several people saying that it was in there with the 5.02 update, but Sony had to activate it. And as I state right here, if that's true, then I think that means bad news for the homebrew scene. And I wanted to address that last sentence here. Currently, if you have a system software update, regardless if it's for the PlayStation 4 or if it's PlayStation 5 or even earlier versions of the PlayStation, I'm not aware of Sony at any point being able to come in and potentially modify or add in different types of features or functionalities like they're doing right here with VRR on PlayStation 5 in any of the previous generation of consoles. From my understanding, the only way that they were able to make any sort of modifications on your system screens is if you download and you accept an update. In my opinion, this is a very, very, very dangerous thing for us to start seeing now, because in this instance, you can be on a certain firmware version. And if you are connected to the internet in any way, shape, or form, which is, again, one of the requirements, then they can activate different types of features and functionality, again, like they did right here with the VRR. So the more that I think about this, this is a backdoor approach that Sony has now, especially in regards to folks that's inside of the homebrew scene. So with your PlayStation 4 9.00 jailbreak, you can sit on 9.00 and you can stay connected to the internet, and Sony has no way whatsoever of modifying the system software that's on that device. Now with the PlayStation 5, what we're seeing is that at least on firmware 5.02, they can dynamically add or remove items inside of the system software, which is scary and something that can make the homebrew scene much, much more difficult. So at least knowing from the reports that I've seen right here on Twitter stating that 5.02 has this ability for Sony to just activate VRR, I thought that I would follow the same sort of steps on one of my 4.03 PS5s and see what happens. So here I am. I just finished a reboot. So I'm about to log in to my PlayStation 5 system. And by the way, as I'm logging in right here, let me just go ahead and mention that this PS5 is connected to the internet right now, so it does have full access. Obviously, I'm not on the PlayStation Network because I don't want to lose any sort of ability for homebrew in the future on this console. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to where it says screen and video, and right here it should be stating that VRR option. Now I do have a 2.1 television here, so I should be able to see that. I am also using the higher end HDMI cables. So here's another quick verification that I am connected to the internet. Again, the only thing that I'm missing there is just simply the PlayStation Network. So I'll go to the console information here. And so right here, it does state that I'm on 4.03. And since I am connected to the internet, there is this option right here that is saying that there is an update that is available. So what I've at least been able to confirm here is that if you have a PlayStation 5 on 4.03, regardless if you turn on or off the internet and have a compatible television, that option is not showing up, or at least it's not showing up for me, which leads me to believe that there is now this backdoor that Sony has added in somewhere in maybe the 5.0 or the 5.02 firmware that's going to allow them to manipulate or to add and remove options in the system software. Thanks so very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Michael